Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. It's October the 27th. Not that the weather would have you believe it. 2022. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Thank you very much for stopping by and hanging out today. Let me just get that set up there. Thank you very much for stopping by and hanging out today. If you're here live, bless you. If you're here on the RSS feeds, bless you too. And if you're on our Patreon page,
bless you.
Anytime you need a soft pair of hands, I'm there. Don't worry about this DSLR not being. There we go. Just cycle that bad boy and boom. Forgot to do that before we went live. There we go. There we go. No Tech Alpha Podcast. Great show lined up for you today, as always. Yeah, uncharacteristically warm out there today. Holy shit. I just and now that the sun's out, the sun only just finally cracked through the sky over here about 30 minutes ago. Prior to that, it was kind of overcast, but still warm. It's just overcast. Now that the sun's out, holy shit! Getting my bathing suit. I'm going to the beach after this podcast is over. It is warm as hell. It's like 22 degrees outside, which at this time of the year, your body thinks it's like 42 degrees. Because it's already adjusted to the 5-degree temperatures that we've had in the evenings. Yeah, beautiful day out there. Dad is taking advantage of the weather and putting the old winter tires on. Getting the car ready for the winter. His vehicle, not mine. Mine take in later on in the next couple of weeks. Take mine in to get... I just get my tires and stuff all swapped up when I get my winter maintenance. I just have all done at once. Go in, maintenance, tires, fucking undercoating gets touched up. If I'm feeling particularly special, if I'm feeling myself, if the economy wasn't in the hole right now, I'd also send it in and have him do the permashine, have it all waxed up and stuff for the winter months. Not so that it looks good, but just because it will protect the car from the elements. In the winter months, but yeah, ain't nobody got money for that this year. I'll wax it at home. Do it myself. not paying somebody else to do that this time. But yeah, very warm day, very nice day out there. So, other than that, before we get started, of course, I have to ask the most important question of the week, Mr. Black. How was your week?
Yeah, it's been a week.
Yeah?
It's been a week. Been playing a lot of Overwatch.
I've noticed that. Surprisingly, after last week's podcast, I thought, you know what? Maybe he's a backup off that. Play some Minesweeper, maybe some Chips Challenge. Nah. Something light. But no, right back into the grindstone. How's that been?
It's still pretty shit overall, but moved from Bronze 5 to Gold 4, so
ooh,
we're going in the right direction.
Okay, so they fixed the system that was making you just basically hamster wheel.
It still does. It still does it, but from
not
what
as
I
much.
Was told, yeah, from what it's from what I was told is it gets based, even though you win 7 times and you're supposed to get promoted, if your win rate isn't good enough, it'll either keep you in the same spot or demote you or move you up. It's just all random.
Okay.
Don't know.
So there's more to the equation than simply winning. Yep. Okay. All right. Yep. Well, math
outside
happening.
of that, yeah, I mean, outside of that, like, haven't been doing a whole lot. I mean, I've been streaming quite a bit, but yeah, today I was just out getting some stuff done for this real estate deal, writing some checks, kissing some babies, doing all this, doing all this.
Richard
shit.
Nixon.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it take possession in a week. Actually, less than a week. Next week.
Is this a different one than the one you were talking about before, where you were building? Then you had to get the plans written, drawn up.
The
same one. Oh, okay.
It's 4 duplexes.
Right, in a row or whatever.
Yeah, they're all by each other. It's a private deal, so it wasn't like on MLS or anything.
Oh
yeah. So doing that. Just had to write the check there for the 22. Actually, it ended up being 21 windows.
Right. Yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah.
Yep. So did that. Outside of that, man, there's been some other things been going on, but that I'm just not privy to share on the internet. But
that's fine.
Yeah. That's pretty much that. I'm gonna get ready to take my real estate course, again for the second time. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to grab that binder from you at some point just to refresh my memory.
Hopefully that shit's up to date. That binder
it won't be, but I'll like a lot of it will be, but there'll be some changes. But I just wanted to study that for like a week or two before I, just refresh everything, and then I'll.
I was gonna say that binder is almost old enough to buy alcohol now. That shit's getting up there. And as often as this province changes its fucking real estate shit, just to be able to justify having people go back in and refresh their fucking license every 4.5 minutes. I'm surprised it wouldn't be. But I bet you it's like university textbooks. It's like, all right, this is out of date, and then you buy the new one, and it's like one sentence has changed somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see.
We redid it. Yeah, I still have that down the hall on my shelf with all of my other university books that I cannot
throw them out.
I can't.
Or
there's just too much money
somewhere
in those books, and they don't. And even back when I finished you finish a semester, and you go to sell them back, and they're like, the best I could do is $5. You're like, this is a $500 textbook. What do you mean the best you could do is $5? And so I take it home. I'm like, well, I can't get rid of it now. Yeah. I've spent too much money on it, so maybe in the future, I'll hit a spot where I'm like, fuck it, burn it. I'll burn them before I sell them or give them to somebody else. They're just, just to be able to like cathartically get that out of my system. Fuck this $400 textbook that the professor didn't even use once, but was mandatory, for the course. Because the old trick is they'll use textbooks that they've co-authored, and so they get royalties on sales of textbooks. And so they get into their classroom, they'd be like, "All right, here's the textbooks for this year," and you'd see it, and it'd be like their name, like on every fucking textbook. Yeah. And then you get in, and because they wrote it, you never open the textbook once. I have a finance textbook that was $350 in 2008. And we never open. It's so crisp that when you open it, when you first get a book, it's so crisp that if you open it's a hardcover, it pulls the first like 5 pages with it because it's so new. If I did that right now, it would still pull every fucking page because it's so new. It's so crisp. It looks like it's supposed to be taken off a fucking like saran wrap shelf. Never get open once. Came home, sat on a shelf, never got fucking used the entire year. So it's definitely. It's definitely, and there's lots of information in them too that if I ever, went back into the stonks going up in the future, it's still relevant. Business hasn't changed in fucking 300 years outside of the complexities of maybe the financial system. Business is fucking business. So like there's lots of good stuff in there that's totally still applicable and fine for referencing. So anyway, that's my rant on my fucking books. The problem is that they take up a lot of room. So I don't know where I'm going to put them. I'm going to put them in an attic. I'm going to like vacuum seal them and throw them in the attic and use them as insulation. It'd be worth more as insulation than actual textbooks at this point. My week wasn't too bad. We got a lot done at the house this week. We have 1 day left of painting, basically. Well, 2, technically. We have part of the entryway to second coat because we ran out of paint the other day. Had to go buy 1 more gallon. When you're doing the math on like how much you need, and you're like, oh, we should be able to make that work. We tried because you don't want multiple extra gallons left over just sitting around.
I always just get extra because the way I look at it is you're gonna need to do touch-ups at some point anyway.
Yeah,
so
which
you have the paint there, and it's just like whatever. Especially when people start moving in, moving out, you're gonna ding shit. You're gonna fucking. Something's
for sure.
Gonna happen, right?
So we want, but so I want like 3/4 to a half a gallon left over for touch-ups.
Yeah, that
should be about what's left in this. By the time it's all said and done, that's more than enough. You start stacking paint cans for touch-ups. That's not touch-ups. You just fucked up your calculation at that point. so we got 1 more can of that today. To finish that up, and then the bathroom has to be painted. But we were likely going to wait. We'll do the ceiling, but we're probably going to wait until the tiler is done doing the tiling in there, because he'll probably, if he's in there, he'll probably scuff a fucking wall or some shit while just putting the tile in. So we'll leave the walls until the tiling is done. But that is also being scheduled. So the tiler is now being scheduled. He's doing the entryway, the bathroom, and he's doing the backsplash. Dad was like, I ain't doing a backsplash. We're paying him to do the fucking backsplash. So great. Sounds good. So he's doing all 3 of those things. We came up with the how we were going to put the vent hood on while he was doing the tiling. because we want the vent hood to be on top of the tile and not tile up to it, but have it behind, so that if we ever have to replace the vent hood, we don't have to be like, oh, this vent hood has to be exactly this fucking shape to be able to go back in. So we came up with that this week, and where we're going to put power and whatnot. And then other than that, it's just lots of painting, and we got her done, and did some outdoor work as well with all this nice weather we've been having. Got it all gridded out for the backyard entryway and whatnot. Got our railings and our handrail in for tomorrow. So hopefully with the weather we're having this weekend, we'll have that coming together. Things are just, piecing together one bit at a time. So it was a pretty good week over at the house, and switched from NBA over to PGA 2K23. Which the swing stick in that game is still dog shit. It's been dog shit for 3 years. It continues to be dog shit, but at least this year they have a 3-button clicking system now, which is really just a modified version of the 3-click system golf games have had since like the Super Nintendo, and much more usable than the swing stick. So finally started using that, which helped out. I gotta be honest, it's Canadian boys that make this game. A lot of them are mostly Canadian that make this game. It was called the Golf Club before 2K bought them up and turned it into their golf game, PGA 2K23, 2K21. So it's very much still the Golf Club under the hood, and you can tell that. And 2K's money hasn't done that much except for get sponsors. We're not, well, some sponsors, and then cameos. So, Tiger's in this one, and MJ is in this as a character, and like a bunch of other random people, like from the content creation community, are also, possible players. But the economy of earning money in game and everything, it's so stingy. It's even, I didn't think it was possible. It's worse than NBA 2K23. I didn't think it was fucking possible, but the 2K guys are at it again. And so, like, down to like, dude, remember back in the day, I know we're getting old, but remember back in the day when you played a sports game and it was like basketball or golf or whatever the fuck, something as simple as, hey, I want to change, not the style necessarily, but I have the style of sock. I want to change the color of my socks. And you could do that. You have a few colors you could choose from because they're fucking socks. Well, you don't get that anymore because 2022 and everything has to be microtransactions. So it's like a $4 pair of fucking socks and it comes in one color. And that's the show. You're basically spending as much money as you would in real life to buy the clothing to put on a virtual character in a fucking golf game. For socks! That's where we're at. It's depressing. Like it's the same as when you're trying to like create your own character and you just play it and you'd be able to like slowly make your character better. And by slowly, I mean it might take a week to get done. Well, now it's like a month or more if you grinded the shit out of it like a second job to be able to get your character to like level up. And then otherwise you're just spending shitloads of money. And this is like shit that we had for like 2 decades worth of sports where this was not part of the deal. And now all of a sudden it's fucking part of the deal and it's so depressing. Gaming is going in such a shithole direction. Shout out to all the mobile game players that are used to spending all this money that now it's bleeding over into fucking console and PC games because they're too used to making their money on fucking phones. You bunch of dicks! Have some self-respect so the rest of us don't go broke! I just want to change my socks, Jeff. Is that too much to ask? I just want some white socks. White socks, that's all I want. I don't want to spend $5 on. Let's talk about some video game news, Mr. Black, other than my wallet and PGA Tour. Resident Evil 4, that's a game that you liked back in the day. You had a pretty good time with RE4. I remember you had it on the GameCube, which was the original release. It was a exclusive to the GameCube for the longest time, which was always an interesting and kind of controversial choice back in the day to have it exclusive to the GameCube. And eventually, this bitch got ported to almost as many places as Skyrim. I say almost because let's not get too crazy here now. It's Skyrim. I mean, that shit's on your toilet paper roll at this point. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of ports for RE4, and now we're getting a remake of sorts, similar to the RE2 situation, and we got to see some more, or some of that in gameplay footage this week. It looked really good. Did you catch any of that? Did it pop up on your socials or anything like that, the gameplay?
No, I didn't see any of it.
It looks pretty good. I mean, RE2 was a good platform for them to jump off of. They know what they can do now. Visually, it's looking good. They changed some stuff in it. The thing that really garnered the most traction of everything on social media was that at one point there's a dog stuck in like a bear trap or some shit that you could originally help in the game. But in this version of the game, the dog's already dead, and now everyone on the internet was like, fuck, how dare you not allow me to help the dog. But yeah, it's looking pretty good, and I'm sure this is gonna sell like fucking hotcakes because RE4 is not just considered arguably the best Resident Evil ever made, but it's one of like some people's shortlist for games of all time, like top 10 for many people. So yeah, I'm sure as long as they don't fuck this hard, and really you'd have to make a concerted effort here. This game has been re-released 14,000 times. You gotta fuck that up real hard. You gotta try. It's going to sell an awful lot of copies, I'm sure. Was that something that you might consider dipping your toes back in the future if you had some time?
Yeah, I'd play that.
Revisit some RE4? Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be a pretty good time. It'd be nice to look good. That might be a setup, a stream in the projector room. Get some nighttime RE4 vibes going. Might be a good time.
Or I could just play it by myself. I do that.
Hey, look, what?
You know,
whoa!
Listen, man,
you are a live streamer of video games. You are not allowed to feel like it is capable as an individual to play games without streaming it.
I am actively trying to fall in love with video games again. I have been playing video games off stream on my free time.
Okay.
With no audience, no nothing, just shutting the fuck up. And enjoying a video game. I've been trying to do it.
How's it been going? Explain. How has the process been? Because I did this a little bit. You'll remember back when we first bought the house, and I wasn't streaming. I was playing Skyrim offline on my PlayStation 5, and I was. It took me a while to kind of like get rid of the back of my mind going stream it. So how was that for you? How's that been for you?
I mean, to be fair, it's not like I've been playing like, long sessions worth, but
no.
I think like in the last week, I probably played maybe 10 hours by myself.
Anything in particular that you've been dipping your toes in the water with, or just jumping around?
Jumping around a little bit. Yeah, just playing a few different games. Nothing crazy. But I think I'm gonna pick up like some sort of new series. Like I was actually considering playing Breath of the Wild, or not Breath of the Wild. Sorry.
I almost had a heart attack there for a second. I was like, "Are you okay? Have you seen a doctor recently?"
I do own that game, but I'm not gonna play it. The one that you like there, kind of like
Horizon.
Breath of the Wild.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm considering putting that in the media room and just sitting down and I got a 4K projector. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Is there a bunch of input latency on the projector? Do you know?
None.
Because some projectors are like fucking weird about that.
I don't. I've played some games in there already. Like
no issues.
I got the Xbox and the PS5 in there.
Yeah.
No issues at all. None.
Fantastic. Yeah, Horizon's really, really good. I mean, they have Zero Dawn is on the PC now, so that would be the version to consider playing maybe. But you have the PS5 in there, so you could also get and play that in there. And then there's the new one, which is Horizon Forbidden West, which is the second one that came out not too long ago. That's also done very well. So those, that wouldn't be a bad. I think you'd probably enjoy yourself with those. Very pretty games.
Yeah, I just want to play a single player game.
Yeah.
Without an audience. Like obviously something like Resident Evil 4 or something I'll stream. Like there's just certain games that I'd rather just stream.
Yeah.
But then there's also games that like maybe I won't stream. Then I'll just play.
Wow. It's crazy times out here.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy times out here. That's great. Well, if you do end up playing these games off stream, then maybe on the podcast you can let us know how you're enjoying these games, and especially since and something that nobody will likely understand unless they actually stream for a living, not even as a hobby, but as a fucking living. What it does to your brain in regards to games. We've talked about it here on the podcast a few times. It really changes everything about how you perceive games, how you enjoy games, and even like as a mental block, constantly having the nagging thought in your mind that you should be streaming and profiting off of this. Why are you just sitting here? You could press the stream button, and be doing the same thing, but it's not the same. That's the thing. Your brain's tricking you. It's not the same thing. So I'm excited for you. Now I'm excited to hear how which games you choose and how you go about maybe playing them. Have you thought about maybe if you're going to do this, pick up like a Mister and like a retro tank and maybe make use of the 410 games behind you, because that might be a cool thing to kind of dip.
I haven't gone that far, but once my son is ready to start playing some video games, I'm probably gonna explore some of the older stuff with him and just have some fun.
Fantastic, awesome. Well, there you go. That's wonderful. Square Enix looks to be dipping back into the old IP. Speaking of one, I'm pretty sure you have these on the back shelf, but it looks like they're dipping back into the old IP well, as a trademark for Symbiogenesis popped up in Japan, which is the basis of the popular Parasite Eve games. And so now people are assuming that there is a Parasite Eve game of some kind, whether it's a remake, remaster, or a wholly new experience, possibly going to be popping up here from Square Enix. That was another game you and I played when we were kids, but you thought, Parasite Eve was pretty good. And so hopefully if they do dip their toes back in, that will end up being a good experience. That's one of those games I've seen a lot of people say, if there was going to be like an IP resurrected, Parasite Eve is often on the list for a lot of people. And so it could be happening. Buckle up. An all-time record, Mr. Black, was set on Steam this week, by Steam, not an individual game, but just the platform in general, as they, for the first time ever, hit 30 million logged-in users simultaneously. 30 million sweaty neckbeards all logged into Steam at the same time. Power grids were going down all over North America. Ship's crazy. But that's a new thing. If you see the chart for it, it's been slow, just fucking creeping towards that 30. Finally hit that 30 mark. And of course had a substantial boost during the pandemic, where everyone was fucking like a shut-in for a while. And surprisingly, they didn't lose a lot. Like in the last year, where everyone has kind of been going back to work and things have gotten a little bit more normal than it was for the year and a half previous. The numbers pretty much, haven't gone too far, and they've continued to clearly climb, which means, the retention for Steam has been pretty spectacular. So there you go, 30 mil. That's a big platform, Mr. Black. Simultaneous. That's a lot. That's, imagine NordVPN with 30 million simultaneous connections. That might be asking too much.
That is a lot.
But we can talk to him about it. If you're one of the wild ones, Mr. Black, and I know you're not, but I know a couple people who have dipped their toes. If you're one of the wild ones who got in early on one of those fancy NVIDIA 4090s, that if you put wheels on, you might actually be able to use as a vehicle, because it's both as big and uses as much power as most small vehicles do. The 4090 has been run into a bit of a fuck show, but not the card itself necessarily, but the power connector. So as these cards over the last couple of generations, since the series you and I have, Mr. Black, that you have the 2080 Ti, I believe, as well as I do, they use a couple of connectors to power them. The series that came after, the big beefy boys, used 3 connectors. And apparently they didn't want to, as they moved up, they didn't want to just keep fucking adding connectors like some sort of, ever-expanding hand of cards, fanning out 14 different connectors from your fucking PSU to plug in. So they decided, all right, well, let's make a new power connector that can handle the power limits and just plug one bad boy in. So the 16-pin connector was born. And that sounds good on paper until you realize that they kind of fucking cheaped out on the thing and didn't really think about the use case all that much before releasing this spec for this connector. So what people have been discovering after they plug in their $610,000 4090 to turn on and play solitaire at 6 billion frames per second as they wait for Call of Duty to launch at the end of this week, they've discovered that, oh shit, my computer's on fire. And then they open the case and they discover that the smoke is emanating from that $610 million graphics card. And they go, oh, what the fuck? And they take the connector off and the shit's melting plastic. And so what's happening is the connector is quite large. The head of it is quite large. I don't know if you've seen the connector on anywhere, but it's a pretty big connector. And then it's a beefy, because I mean it's carrying as much power as multiple cables used to carry, right? So it's a pretty beefy connector. And the problem is most people, when they install this into their case, especially on a card like the 4090, which again, Volkswagen Beetle crammed into your fucking PC case, there's not a lot of room before you hit the side of your PC case. Which you'd even notice with your card today, which is 1/10 the size of a fucking 4090, and you got a big ass case. Like I bought you a proper fucking case.
It's
that
a beefy one.
You could rent that out in San Francisco for $3,000 a month.
Takes up half the size of my desk, but underneath it.
And it was specifically built that big so that it would stay cool, and because you had all that space in that room. And so even then, with that 2080 Ti, the connectors probably come pretty close to the side of the case when you close it up. Now, if you double the size nearly of that graphics card, you can imagine how close the power cables, well, they're not close, they're making love to the exterior of most PC cases, especially ones that aren't as big as yours. And so when they plug this new connector in, it's got quite a severe bend in it, which with the older connectors wasn't a problem. You could basically fucking tie that shit in a sailor knot and it wouldn't fucking care. Like, it would be fine. But with this new one, not that anyone knew ahead of time, but if you go digging for documentation, you're not supposed to have a bend in that cable for the first roughly 35 millimeters of this connector. And if you do, and it's too severe, what can happen is it semi-disconnects just ever so slightly on the interior of that connector, and it ends up shorting in the connector on the GPU. And so you end up melting the fucking connector with this power. Bit of a problem because it destroys the graphics card, and it destroys the cable, and if you're not careful, will fuck the rest of your computer, I'm sure, if you were to let it go long enough. That's a bit of a problem when you're talking about a very expensive luxury item that nobody wants to have to think about that shit. They want to plug that shit in, press the fucking go button, and go do their thing. You spend that much money, you don't expect to have to worry about shit catching fire. So that's a bit of a problem. A lot of people have been talking about it, trying to come up with solutions. The problem is there's not many. Even if you were to vertically mount the graphics card into the computer, it's still a bend problem for many cases to try and make it work. Some people have used adapters to try and to get the adapter to be looser down towards the bottom and had some success with it, but then you're using an adapter, and I don't personally know if the spec is really going to be super viable with an adapter right now or not. Either way, all of this is to say that if you are using a graphics card, whether it's the 4090 or another one, that has this 16-pin connector, at this time, be aware, don't bend that bitch. If you got to leave the side of your case off, don't bend it. You got at least 35 mil before you can put any bend in that fucking cable. And if you don't do that, you might be fucking roasting your fucking graphics card. So just be aware of that. And it might even be something where in the warranty, they might not even cover it, because if it's written in documentation somewhere, they will just point to it and be like, bitch, you should have read the fucking papers. Can't give you a warranty back. And so you just be very, very fucking mindful of that shit if you are one of the ones jumping on these new cards. And I know some people have, because the stock for these have been in, because crypto has gone away. So a lot of cards are easier to get. More people are buying them up now. And so just be wary if you are one of those people. For the love of God, unless you plan on frying eggs or some shit, don't bend that cable. An update on the Hellena Taylor Bayonetta voiceover madness, Mr. Black. So we talked about that last podcast, where she had made that series of videos saying that the developer had only offered her $4,000 for this role. Then there was some investigative journalism run by I think it was I don't know if it was Wall Street Journal or no, it wasn't Wall Street Journal. It was Jason Schreier, who is part of, I can't remember now. Anyway, they and another installation both ended up using their sources at this company, and both found out the exact same thing. They were told the same information from different people from within the company, that was untrue, that they had offered her more money over multiple sessions that totaled closer to $15,000, which she turned down. That was the story going forward. She disputed that immediately, said that was not the case, and then information properly came out, even more receipts this week, Surprise, bitch! So, now she's really fucked, because now all of the voice actors and actresses that were championing her up to this point, because it wouldn't be the first time that a voice actor or actress got fucked on a contract, anyone that was a betting man or woman probably would have assumed that the odds of Platinum not having tried to stiff her on this, I mean, the over-under in Vegas would have been heavily in Helena's favor on this bitch. Unfortunately, this is one of those times. People got rivered bad on this bitch because she came out and said, oh, wait, well, it's actually because the information came out. And so we have the real story now, Mr. Black. So the real story goes a little something like this. So Helena is originally offered $10,000 to reprise her role for the entirety of the game. She says, nah, bitch, that's not enough money. So they came back and they said, okay, we'll offer you an extra $5,000 for a total of $15,000 to reprise your role as Bayonetta. She says, nah, bitch, I'm out. They said, okay, that's fine. Would you like to come back and do a cameo of some kind in the game with another character for, I can't remember how many lines were listed or whatever, for $4,000, which is where she got that $4,000 that she originally toted in those videos, was for the comeback just to do that, since she denied or declined the $15,000 to be Bayonetta. And, of course, she said no to that as well, and then went on to do her videos about how they only offered her $4,000 or whatever to do this role. So, that's what actually happened. Whether or not $15,000 is enough money, that doesn't matter here. I personally think $15,000 is probably a little on the fucking skimpy side for a game that makes a lot of money. I'm sure that Jennifer Hale made a lot more than $15,000 to be Bayonetta in this game. Regardless of that, the big problem here, and what all these voice actors and actresses in the community have come out afterwards to say, is, the problem here is that Helena has just made their job so much fucking harder to make the case about all of this, which is an ongoing issue of compensation for voice actors and actresses in film and games and commercial and anywhere, because she wasn't truthful from the get-go. If she just came out and said they offered me 15 grand, a lot of people probably still would have looked at that and went, yeah, you know what? For the third game in a franchise that sold a hell of a lot of copies, 15 grand to be the titular role sounds a little on the thin side. Yep. Like maybe 25 grand, something, something else, something, maybe a small cut of royalties, anything, but 15 grand, man, it sounds a little thin. Instead, she went with the $4,000 number, which was like not untrue, but also not true. And now it looks bad for everyone, and now it's like a pain in the ass for the conversation, right?
I mean, when you talked about this last week, I mean, I figured something fucky was up. There's just it just didn't make any sense. So there you have it.
It's a little column A, little column B. She was going for I was technically being truthful, right? The $4,000 existed. It was an offer from them, but it was not the original offer for the role. So she was kind of like, she was being manipulative, and she shouldn't have done that shit, because now everyone in the community is like, fucking Helena, what are you doing this to us for? Yep. Now how in the fuck are we supposed, like, it feels like starting from zero again whenever we're trying to have this conversation about compensation in the voiceover industry. Doesn't make it any easier for all those men and women out there doing the shit. And so, that's been the unfortunate bit, to say the least. But that is the official story now as to what truly went down. And the game is reviewing relatively well so far. So if you're a Bayonetta fan and you don't care about this anymore, great news. Game is apparently pretty good. I also saw a pretty hilarious tweet this week, Mr. Black, that I retweeted, where it was I think it was another, she was a writer for another website or publication for a while. I can't remember which one now off the top of my head. Anyway, she tweeted about how that she was very confused as to, and retweeted a video clip from Bayonetta 3, it looked like, or maybe even 2, but very confused as to about how straight men were attracted to Bayonetta. And in this video, like, she literally, like, she's fighting all this shit, and there's like fucking bullets and shit that end up like splitting her clothing. She ends up being like butt ass fucking naked, floating towards the you're not seeing titties or anything, but you see like some bare ass and shit. She's moaning like the whole fucking time because Bayonetta, it's like this super hypersexualized, sex positive female role. She ends up on the back of like a fucking space unicorn or some crazy shit because again, it's Bayonetta and everything is like an acid trip the entire fucking time. She starts bouncing up and down and it's slow motion on her ass on the thing and she's bouncing up and down in this fucking like unicorn and she starts shooting everything with like her bullet fucking heels and all this other bullshit and she's done like the Sailor Moon transformation shit for her clothing and whatnot and then everyone in her comments of this tweet were like, what do you think men are attracted to? How much, like, you've got a long leg fat ass sexually positive like dominant fucking like badass woman on screen doing all this shit. What do you think they're sitting at home going, nah, that ain't it? Like, like what? Who do you think that's like? What? And apparently, it's all based on the fact that you know that the running bit is that you know Bayonetta is supposed to appeal to just like everyone, including the fairer sex, which makes perfectly good sense in my mind. But it doesn't stop. It's like how many dudes, straight dudes, watching fucking lesbian porn as their primary source. Tons of dudes attracted. That doesn't matter. Is it an attractive woman? Yes. Great. I'm in. I don't even need the bullet heels. The bullet heels are a nice additive. Like that shit's cool. But I didn't need it. But it's there. Makes it even better as far as I'm concerned. So continuing the RTS remaster train, Mr. Black, Age of Mythology Retold was announced this week, which has fans of the often ignored cousin of Age of Empires quite excited. So Age of Empires gets all the attention, but people sometimes forget Age of Mythology existed as well, which I believe is the game that had the laser bears, which was a cheat that you would enter that was "Oh Canada," and then it would spawn a bear with a Canadian flag cape on the map that had laser eyes, or laser comes out of his mouth. And then it would play the "Oh Canada" theme in the background after you type that shit in, and then that laser bear would go on to do horrible, horrible things to everything on the map. But yeah, a little bit more, obviously, as the name would imply, mythological in theme. And so lots of people excited about that because Age of Empires has been getting all of the attention in the last couple of years. And now Mythology is also going to be getting some of that sweet remake, remaster attention. More remakes. Shocking, I know. But The Witcher is getting a remake, Mr. Black. Also not shocking given the momentum of The Witcher in general in the last few years. It's not being directly done by CD Projekt Red. I can't remember. I don't even have it in my notes. I can't remember the company that's doing it, but it's being completely rebuilt evidently in Unreal Engine 5, which is like the new hot stuff engine that everyone wants to use right now. Understandably so. It's a pretty good looking engine. Shit looks pretty fucking incredible in it when you do it right. So yeah, the whole thing's being redone in Unreal Engine 5. I don't have a timeline or anything for you. I'm going to assume distant.jpg. It's probably the timeline you're looking at for a complete remake of The Witcher, unless this shit is only just being announced and they've been working on it for like 3 years, which I doubt because they're using Unreal Engine 5. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a little while. During an interview this week, Mr. Black, Philly Spencer was back out in front of the press, answering some questions. Many of which were giving answers to things that people were wondering for quite some time. For example, Game Pass. Lots of people were wondering, is Game Pass a loss leader for the Xbox division as they continue to try and pull in people to the service? Apparently no. Apparently the shit's already profitable. And it accounts for roughly 15% of the Xbox division's revenue, which is a large number. That would be in the billions of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. So, or at least the hundreds of millions. And so they're already doing well. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to increase the price in the future, because they will. Like everything, it will get more expensive in time. However, already profitable. A lot of people were wondering that because they were thinking, hey, you know, they've got to pay these developers up front a whole bunch of money just to have the games on the service, and not all of them are necessarily going to generate in-app purchases or anything of that nature. And so how is it that they could possibly be making money on this, et cetera, et cetera? Well, however they're doing it, guess what? It's working. It's already profitable. So that's good news for them because they are really putting a lot of energy behind that behind that service and a lot of money behind that service too. Also talked about how they will clearly have to, in relation to this, he was asked because I think the basis of this was, the concept of PlayStation increasing the cost of their consoles recently. And when does Xbox plan on doing the same? And of course, he said at some point, clearly, we're going to have to increase the cost of certain things. He didn't say specifically the Xbox or Game Pass. He just said certain things, which means any or all products under the Xbox division. And he said, despite the fact that it's inevitable that we're going to have to do that, we internally made the decision earlier in the year that at least for this year, we're not touching anything. So everything through the end of this year, and I don't know if he means fiscal year for them, which would be March of next year, or if he means calendar year, which would be the end, clearly, of the end of December this year. Either one of those, he said, at least for that long, we don't have any plans of increasing the cost of any of our products at this time. So you don't have to worry about that randomly jumping up $70 just before the holiday season. Unless you're buying on eBay, then it's going to be $700 and not $70. He also discussed that the Xbox streaming box, which was a rumored thing similar to Stadia, where they just sell you a box that would kind of run like Game Pass and xCloud and things of that nature off of it, and not necessarily needing to be an entire ass console like an S or an X. That is totally still a thing. It is in the pipeline, but he said it is years away because it is clear that the market is not necessarily there just yet. And so they're going to take the time to continue to develop it. And so when the market is ready for it, they will have something, but not right now. They're not going to rush it out to the market as it stands. They'll continue to do things like work with, like they just announced, and we talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago, about partnering with like Samsung to get their services streamed right through their smart TVs, things like that. They'll continue to build those out. And then I suspect the box will eventually make its debut in the not too distant but distant future, probably 3 to 5 years. If I had to guess, it's probably another 3 to 5 years away, and then they'll probably start to try and roll something out, but a little bit early, as Stadia discovered this year. Speaking of, the last bit of Microsoft news, sorry here. So, a game that a lot of people were kind of excited about for obvious reasons. Really good developer and in a wheelhouse they're already good at. So, Insomniac, their game, Wolverine, that was announced at E3, is still set for release in 2023. That hasn't experienced any delays thus far. It's still on track. So just like the Spider-Man games, which are all dope, everyone's hoping that this Wolverine one is going to be equally as dope because, I mean, a Wolverine game as good as Spider-Man sounds pretty good to me. I'd probably play that. Sounds pretty neato. But yeah, still on track for 2023. No major delays have been experienced thus far. Hopefully it continues as such because it's clearly likely if it's going to come out next year, probably close to the end of the year. So you never know. It might get pushed into like February, March or some shit of the year following, but we'll wait and see how that continues to roll out. Meta's Metaverse, Mr. Black. They need to rename that Waste Moneyverse because holy shit, they are burning that like they're burning it for friggin' heat. I don't know if you've ever tried to burn money. It doesn't last very long. But it heats you up for a short period of time. And that's about what they're experiencing right now over at Meta as Zuckerberg and friends try to make something that even remotely looks like PlayStation Home from 2005. So, do you remember PlayStation Home, bro, and the PS3? You remember that shit?
I do.
Like, I don't know if you've seen Metaverse. It still isn't even at the level of PlayStation Home from like fucking early 2000s. They got some work. And it's costing them an awful lot of money to like put things in like legs, which has been a very challenging development process for them, Mr. Black. Legs, really, really high fidelity things to chase after. So at this point, though, the update is that we talked about this before, I think last year, though. I don't think we talked about it since then, where we talked about how I think the last time we reported that it had spent $1.2 billion to get to where it was. Well, here's the latest update. We're at 3.6. And they added on in just the last couple of months. They added over $1 billion to that in just the last couple of months.
Zuckerberg's burning some cash.
$3.6 billion for legless shit-looking fucking VR is a whole different level of whack. And what scares me more though is that Microsoft recently announced a partnership where they're going to try and bring like their suite of like of Office software and stuff to this, so that Teams or whatever else can all happen inside of this fucking bullshit. I don't know. That was one of the dumbest things I've seen. Like Microsoft's literally just watching Zuckerberg burn all of his money. Like, oh, let's join that shit train. And so maybe that's a sign that no matter how shit it is, and it is shit. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is full blown garbage. That it will still come to market no matter what, because there's so much money.
Oh, it's coming.
There's so much money to be burned that it doesn't matter that it sucks. It's just gonna.
I don't know. Maybe Zuckerberg knows something we don't. You know. Maybe,
well, he does. He knows Mandarin. I don't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe in 10 years this thing is like, you know, I have no idea.
I don't know if he's got 10 years, because you want to know what this has done to its stock price, Mr. Black?
I know it took like a 25% beating today.
Bro.
Just today.
Since November, December of last year, so less than a calendar year, their market cap has dropped 50%. 50. Oh, yeah. It went from 825 billion to the last. Now, if it went down today, and I didn't see this happen today, but if it went down
year to date, it's down 71%.
So, what is its market cap right now? Is it less than 400 billion?
Market cap is 262.9 billion.
Oh my God! It almost lost half again. Wow!
Yeah, it lost 25% today.
Okay, so it's down $600 billion in a year. Less than a year.
Yeah. I mean, some of that is to do with the economy.
Not that much.
Yeah, no, not that much. Not that much. But yeah.
It ain't $600 billion worth.
Zuckerberg still got all kinds of money. He can just burn it for days, man.
Well, he doesn't. I don't think he's got that many days. Like the rate that he's burning cash, man, he doesn't have that long. It's only been 9 months. Fuck, he got 9 days left, I think, in the tank at this point. Holy shit! You know what was funny is that the thing that made me laugh is that Home Depot is now worth more money than Facebook.
Good old Home Depot, man.
Buy now.
Home Depot. Hey, Home Depot is a good stock.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It's probably the largest, the largest commercial provider of most of those products.
No, it's a great stock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's down on the year, like mostly everything, but
that's probably down a little too because it had a boost during the pandemic where everyone was doing home renovations like non-fucking stop, so they probably experienced an uplift, and then now they're kind of like correcting.
Well, Home Depot gives a quarterly dividend as well, so there's a lot of people that just hold them.
Well, I don't know if Meta did, but they don't right now. If anything, they're asking you for money. They're calling you up like a university for like alumni, being like, "Hey, I know you already spent 30 grand here, but is it possible that you could send us another 30? We're kind of low right now. We're hurting. I promise we'll pay you back. I just need one more hit." Dude, $600 billion in 9 months isn't even for Zuckerberg with lots of money. That's not good. That's the kind of loss that people look at as investors unless they know something really specific internal for the company, where people will start to dump because they're like, "Oh, this is never going to recover." It's 9 months and you lost $600 billion fucking dollars.
Yep.
Like you're never
$77 billion this year. Oof. God damn.
Dude, that's got to be a record, bro. That has to. Like, other?
Netflix took a huge beating this year too.
Yeah, but $670 billion? I don't think Netflix has ever been worth $670 billion.
No, it hasn't. No, definitely not. Crazy.
Oh, dude, they've lost more than the GDP of the majority of the fucking world in 10 months or 9 months. Holy shit. That's tough. So
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, good luck out there. Zuckerberg,
Godspeed, Zuckerberg.
Godspeed. True, Miyagi is not wrong. Apple has been trying to fuck everyone here in the last couple of weeks. I didn't write this in, but Apple's trying to fuck everyone real hard. Now they're trying to get in on like even more, like a 30% cut added to like damn near everything that happens in their walled garden. They're just trying to apply that shit wholesale to fucking everything. Apple's getting into scary fucking territory as far as like their control over multiple areas of the digital hardware and software space. And unfortunately, there's no one there to stop them. It's definitely not Zuckerberg, I can tell you that much right now. The only thing Zuckerberg is burning, other than some calories on his Peloton at home, is $670 billion in market cap. He said he ain't worried though, Jeff. Would you be worried?
I'd be worried. I don't care how rich you are. I'd be pretty worried.
Those are numbers hard to ignore. And last up, Mr. Black, stop the presses! Hideo Kojima talking about his new game. Stop me if you've heard this before. But he said, my new project is like a whole new medium.
Okay.
It's, like before it was Strand Games, was for Death Stranding. There's Strand Games. Way ahead of its time. Very, very forward thinking. And so clearly the new project coming out from Hideo Kojima to top even the depth of Strand Games. Bless his heart. I'm sure it's going to be a good game, but every time he says something like that, I'm just like, bro, just calm down. Just make a game. Just fucking make a game. Just go call up all your celebrity friends that you keep like running out on social media and just make a fucking game. It's really that simple. Mr. Black, that's all we got for video game news, which means it's time to sell out the people at home so that we don't also lose $677, not billion. Let's not go that far, but $677. We could that would be bad. So let's stop.
We can't even afford to lose $677.
No, we gotta stop to stem the flow. We gotta stem the flow.
Keep it 100. We lose $677 to stop doing this podcast.
Stem the flow. Sell us out, Mr. Black.
Patreon.com/LagTV. Head on over there. Throw some money at the screen. If you guys don't want to do that or you can't afford to, that's okay. I get it. You can also support getting NordVPN. It's less than a grande cinnamon dolce latte a month at Starbucks. You get 4 bonus months when you get a 2-year subscription when you use the promo code OTT. That is NordVPN.com/OTT. Head on over there, sign up. You can use it on your smartphone. You can use it on your desktop. You can use it on your Mac, your iPad, smart TV. You can hook it directly up to your router. They've got everything. They also got password protectors and all kinds of different products that you can go check out while you're over there. But the VPN, the virtual private network, is where it's at. I know the vast majority of you guys and gals out there that are gamers. You consume a lot of content on the internet. You can bypass region blocked areas. So if you're watching something on YouTube and it's like it's not available in your country, you can, at the click of a button, you can mask your IP to a country that it allows to be played in, and you can have access to that content. You can play on different servers in gaming. You can stream on these. You can game and stream on them at the same time. They're very fast. I mean, I've done downloads, for the ones out there that might be downloading some things. And, I would highly suggest if you're out there downloading, you should use a VPN. All right. If you use a VPN, downloads are still very, very quick, super quick. We're not talking 1 megabyte down. I have
to use a VPN just to download shit on EA's Origin app, because otherwise it will keep going down to 0 bytes and then pause, and then I have to press pause and restart, and then it will start up and then it will drift back to 0 again. If I use NordVPN, which I have, problem goes away.
Problem solved. So guys, click on the description below. All right, support it. Head on over there, support the sponsor, us, all at the same time, and yourself, of course, because you're getting a good product, and make it happen. NordVPN, promo code OTT, very easy to remember. Go get it now. And 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't like it for whatever reason. Doesn't matter what the reason is. Get your money back within 30 days.
Shit, the UK Prime Minister, if they had a 30-day money-back guarantee, they might have also... They're close to getting in that window.
Yo, that Prime Minister, she came through. She deuced out. And then she said, I'm going to take my, like, what, 150K
my pension
a year
for the rest of my life?
For the rest of my life? Thanks. It was like 45 days of... It's got to be the highest paying 45 days ever.
Bro, that's even worse. That's even worse than here in Nova Scotia where our MLAs and shit get penciled in, where they only have to do 2 years of work to draw their 80% government pension for the rest of their life.
There you go.
Marky Mark will tell you just how much work they do in the 2 years that they're there because he has to film all of it. It's a lot of nothing for 2 years.
A lot of fuck all.
Yeah, which means it's time to move on to
movies and TV.
Henry Cavill, Mr. Black. Big thing all over the internet. Oh my god, Black Adam is so shit, but hey, at the end of the movie, we see something, and oh my god, now everyone knows, and then the director was pissed that the internet exists, and everyone told everyone that there was an end credits thing that's happened every time a movie's been released with end credits, and oh my god, Henry Cavill. He's back as Superman. Shocker. Henry Cavill, still under the age of 45, continuing to play Superman. Who in the fuck else is going to play Superman right now but Henry Cavill? You'd be insane to replace Henry Cavill.
Warner Brothers' old heads did not want Henry Cavill to be Superman. And it's the reason why it's taken so long for there to be another Superman. Cavill.
Did they ever give a reason for this, or did they just not like the guy?
I'm pretty sure they didn't like each other all that much. And Man of Steel, although was a great movie, it didn't, and I guess in the studio's eyes, didn't perform the way they wanted to. Even though everybody universally loves Henry Cavill as Superman, and in my opinion,
is that really his problem?
The best Superman. No, he's the actor. he has a script. He does it, and that's that.
Yeah.
So anyway, they ended up getting rid of some of the old heads. Some new ones came in. The Rock, his ex-wife is his manager, and his manager is also the same manager of Henry Cavill. They have the exact same representation.
Okay.
So they worked out a deal, and The Rock was like, I'm not doing this stuff because The Rock wants to fight Superman. He wants to fight.
Let's correct that. He doesn't want to fight Superman.
He wants to
beat Superman.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So that's pretty much the reason why this is the way it is. And now we just found out that James Gunn is now running
head of DC.
Yeah, or co-leading DC. So I guess now The Rock has a new boss. His name's James Gunn.
That's a hot pickup for DC. They needed something like that. I mean, James did the best versions of their most recent movies anyway.
Yep.
And so that's a good pickup for them, for sure. Hopefully that means the general quality will rise. Because DC has had hits and misses. That's like the whole thing about DC is that they're all over the place. You get a movie that does really well and is rated really well, and the next movie comes out and it's just fucking terrible. Yep. And the yo-yo all over the place. Marvel's pretty steady. You know, they don't always blow people away, but they make their money and they hit their targets and they just kind of truck on, and that's it. And that's the show. And when you're making superhero movies that cost bajillions of dollars, you kind of would rather it just be steady than having a major hit and then a major flop and then a major hit and then a major flop. So maybe James Gunn will bring some of that stability to them. The only thing that I'd be concerned about is that the tonality of both DC and Marvel ends up being very similar. I don't know if I would necessarily want that, but I feel like they might trend in that direction because they will forever look at Marvel's success and whatever is tied to it to make it that, and that broad market appeal of having college fucking dorm room humor for every single fucking movie, regardless of the tone of what the movie could be, is probably part of what makes Marvel relatively successful because it appeals to a broad fucking audience, whereas DC is like, brooding and edgy and like, and that's like all of DC's films.
I went and saw Black Adam, so...
without spoilers, not that I think there's anything to spoil, how close was I in my description of Black Adam?
I don't remember what you said.
I said it went something like this. You get 20 to 30 minutes of the how Black Adam becomes Black Adam, and then the rest of the movie essentially is Dwayne The Rock Johnson shows up, walks on set, says, "No, I'm Black Adam," and then punches a bunch of people in the face, and then there's like 15 more of those scenes, and then the movie loosely ends. Based on just that back and forth. It's a new scene. He walks on, Black Adam punches a dude, world star. Next scene, Adam, world star.
Yeah,
next scene.
That's pretty much the movie. There is no Zoa. There is no Terramana Tequila.
I'm actually kind of disappointed about that. That would have made it a little bit funnier.
At least I didn't notice it anyway. If there was nothing that was like in your face.
No subliminal messaging.
Yeah, the movie was super duper mid. So it was like I told the stream,
Superman, it's mid, man.
It's like I would give it a 6 or a 6.5 on a high end. Just because like they overdid slow motion. It was like watching 300 again. Just so much slow motion.
Okay.
The really odd music choices was like
misplaced rap kind of odd choices, or like
there's like a new song in like every scene, like full blown.
Like with lyrics and
like,
shit, kind of.
Yeah,
deal?
like Kanye.
Oh, you don't want
fucking.
You don't want lyrics and shit all the time in a superhero movie.
Yeah, so that was off. The kid actor in it. Thank God they took him out of the promotional stuff because he was just fucking awful. The character sucked. He was not a good actor. The rest of them did fine. It was just brutal. It really was. The more I think about it, the movie just wasn't very good. It had its moments for sure. Like it had moments of some really cool action. Like I'm not gonna just sit here and say like it was a complete and utter fucking dog shit of a movie, but like it's not that far from it. Like the story's pretty bad. Characters, like the best part of the film is Pierce Brosnan, 100%, and he's obviously the best actor as well.
He was great. How did Pierce do?
Dr. Fate was so cool. Unfortunately, I didn't really say much about the character. Like, you don't really know his backstory and stuff, which is unfortunate. And then they had like 2 other superhero characters that were just completely useless, dumb. They didn't need to be in the movie. But yeah, some cool fight scenes.
That was Rock pretty much looking like a giant throbbing cock every time he walked onto set.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. That was pretty
veins
much
coming through the suit.
Yep.
Oh, that was the other thing. Right before they yell action, I said that The Rock would have looked out and said, "This is all me. There's no padding in here."
Oh yeah, no. And he's fucking jacked, man. I mean, he's fucking built like a brick shithouse.
Oh, he's huge.
He's fucking massive, bro. Like the steroids are just pumping in every, like, his fucking, I don't even know, man. I'm sure his dick is like fucking thick. Like it's like that shit's on roids.
No testicles left, but this dick is just fucking huge.
Just cock. Just cock. But yeah, it was a movie. I would say I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed it way more than Black Widow. I enjoyed it way more than Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness. What other Marvel movies did I see?
Recently, those are kind of like the
I think those are like
Thor:
the only
Love and Thunder.
I didn't even see that yet. I gotta watch that at some point. Which I heard that wasn't very good. Yeah. If you're a massive DC fan and you like Black Adam, No Way Home is infinitely better. Then go see the movie. Go see it. If you want to support DC and you want to support Superman and this whole thing that The Rock is trying to do, go see the movie. Yeah, I mean, I went out there because, I mean, I'm just the type of moviegoer that is gonna support black filmmakers, and like, I'm just that guy. If there's like a black leading man or woman in a movie, this is like the Woman King. I went and saw that too. I'll go see Wakanda Forever. So even though I knew the movie was gonna be mid as fuck, it's like I'm gonna go out there and show up and support the culture, and maybe I'll be surprised. And I was not surprised. But I also didn't leave upset because I knew what I was getting myself into, you know? I didn't laugh during the movie. It's not funny. There's like maybe actually, there's probably like 10
attempts
parts
at
in the
humor?
movie, attempts of humor. I didn't hear a single person laugh in the theater. To be fair, it wasn't like a packed theater.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't a very good film. It just wasn't very good.
Well, there you go. Were the effects at least like pretty good, or was it obviously he was on a green screen? Because Marvel's been slacking like fuck.
Yeah, the effects were very good. Only a couple of small parts where I don't want to say the CGI was bad, but it just got very monotonous. Like like the first big action sequence that you see with Black Adam is pretty cool. You're like, damn, it was like a mix between Superman and like some Dragon Ball Z. Almost.
Yeah, because he like emanates energy like he's rage, right? He's just like rage incarnate.
And same with the Dr. Fate, Pierce Brosnan's character. Man, he's so stoic and like
I fucking love me some Pierce Brosnan, bro.
He's very distinguished. Like
he is.
It's like
and that's just Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. He's definitely got this this aura. And this confidence.
He's got old school white man swag, bro. Is what it is.
That's it. And the way he played, I didn't know much about the character, so I went in there just dry. I didn't really know, and they don't even really explain his powers. Like they're just cool. It's hard to
Which
explain.
I guess at the end of the day, that's probably all that really matters. Is like, does it look cool, and like, does it work for the film?
Yeah. And The Rock did fine. I mean, he played Black Adam. It wasn't like he's not going to win awards for his acting, and I actually kind of preferred him in this role because he didn't really have to act all that much. He just had to put look mean, look mean, say some one-liners. He tried to say a couple of things, being funny. Like it was almost like a fish out of water because his character
serious.
Well, and it's almost like he wakes from a slumber, and so he wakes and he's in a different time, right? So they got this whole like fish out of water thing, where he's. Is it
as bad as like the Wonder Woman 1984, where her boyfriend's like, "Oh, what's that? Is that art? No. It's a trash can."
Yeah, no, it's not that bad.
Okay,
it's not that bad. But it, overall, guys, 6.5, right in that area. I definitely can't go above that. It's a bad movie. It's forgettable. I'll never watch it again.
That's what I say in the bedroom. 6.5. I can't go above that.
So there you go. That's my quick rundown of Black Adam.
There you go. That sounds about what I would have expected from the movie. I didn't think at any point in time it was going to be great. I didn't think it was going to be complete garbage. I just didn't think it was going to be like.
It's not far from complete garbage, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's really not that far.
It's a slight step up.
Yeah.
It's not, the garbage isn't on fire, it's just garbage.
Correct.
Okay. So it's a dumpster, not a dumpster fire. It's just the dumpster pre-fire.
It's a pretty looking dumpster.
Okay. Well, hey. Not everyone has a pretty dumpster, so there's that. I'll probably watch it just for Pierce Brosnan, because I love me some Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, yeah. He's great to watch. He's great to watch.
And he's just like that. Like I watched I can't remember which publication it was, if it was Wired or whatever, that on YouTube they do those like interviews. Some of them are like the internet asks, other things like that. He did one where he talks about what he travels with, like what's in his backpack kind of thing. And when you listen to him describe all the things that he brings with him, and like what he wears and all this other shit, it's just, that's like, you talk about it like the swag, that's just Pierce Brosnan. He wakes up in the morning, and that's just him.
Yeah.
That's just...
And he's just such a way better actor than everybody in the movie, including The Rock. Like,
it just like stands out like a sore thumb.
It really, truly does. Like, and his lines are like, the script is pretty fucking bare basic and not that great, but like Pierce Brosnan makes it...
Dude, he did 90s GoldenEye, he did 90s 007, so if you can do that shit... You get like Dr. Fate is like a cakewalk compared to like trying to make some of the corny ass lines that you would get for a 007 film, I'm sure. So he's already been down that road. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So anyway,
knows what he's doing.
that's that. What else did I see? I watched Game of Thrones.
Right, you finished. So last week, I think you said you had started it. You finished it now. So what was now that you've seen the whole thing, what was your take on that first season?
House of the Dragon. So, first season, pretty fucking good.
Is that like an 8? It sounds like an 8.
Oh, it's like a 9.5.
Oh shit, that's not pretty fucking good. That's pretty fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Okay, I'll go 9.
Okay,
I think 9.5 might be given just a little bit too much credit.
Okay.
But it is much slower.
Okay.
Than Game of Thrones.
It's more of the politics, less of the action.
It's all politics.
Yeah.
With very little action.
Yeah. Okay.
Which some people might not like.
So if you liked the Littlefinger and what's his name, Bald Bro, like all of their interactions, if you like that in the original series, is it like that, but like a whole season?
Like Tyrion, like, you know how you got like, you know, these really dramatic, it's a good show, man. It's a good show. There's two things about the show that I could have done without.
Okay.
The first is the first is one that you can't do without because it is the way it is, and that is all of the time jumps. So within the series, it's like 20 years goes by within the series.
Okay.
In the first season.
Right.
And so for the first few episodes, you've got these characters that are young. And then you become, I don't want to say attached to them, but a couple of them you're really rooting for or you're really rooting against, and you just find them very intriguing. And you strap yourself in for this to be the journey that you're on. And then an episode comes on and they're gone. It's like 50% of the cast is different because
so it's really
like 10 years go by.
Quite jarring.
Yeah.
So it's even more jarring than some of the time jumps in the original show.
Oh,
then.
it's way more jarring. So like, you know, and we're talking main characters, not like side characters. And there are some side characters that do change. And when I say 50% of the cast, I'm not joking. There's like half the cast changes. Because a lot of them are really young children, or in their teens, and then they change actors and actresses because of the time jump. Now, obviously, there are characters that are grown up that they continue to play the same. They just maybe they got a little bit different hairstyle, or you know they aged a little bit. They do that. I wasn't a massive fan of that because you know a couple of the actors I really enjoyed. But then the new ones that came in, and what made it okay is they did a stellar job. So they came in, and then after 2 episodes, I forgot that the old ones existed. And the other thing is they all kind of looked like each other. So it wasn't like you had somebody that just completely looked different. You could see it, like you could see, like okay, I buy this. It's just it felt weird. So that was one thing. And just the way the story was and how the books were, apparently, like, it's just the way it is. The second thing that I didn't like, which is something that they could have gotten rid of, is the amount of births that there are in this show. I mean, dude, I shit you not. Every episode, there's a baby being born. and it is graphic as fuck, like super graphic. And like you're seeing everything, it's pretty crazy. So I could have done without that. Like it's okay for a few births, but it became a little bit like, all right, I've kind of already seen this scene, but it's different. Because the kids are just popping out left and right, and it's kind of wild. So those were really the only 2 things in the show that I could have done without. And some of those pregnancies obviously needed to be in there because it was a big part of the story.
They're probably birthing very important characters that will
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And there's politics behind it as well. Like there's just, I don't want to get into spoiler territory.
Like
but
who married who forcefully, and then this is the child of like an arranged marriage, and
there's all kinds of
the usual
Game
shit.
of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
So so that was, you know, those were pretty much it. Not a lot of action. I think there was maybe 3 fight scenes in the entire series, which when you think about it, is kind of crazy. I'm not saying that there wasn't more than 3 deaths, because, you know, there are like sort of one-off things that happen, and there's lots of dragons. So there's more dragon time in this than you got in all of Game of Thrones. Which, you know, was cool. And there's just some really amazing scenes, like just some really, really good stuff. You could tell George R.R. Martin was all over this, because the writing was very reminiscent of good Game of Thrones. I found the finale a little weak. Although I didn't leave dissatisfied, I just found it like I wanted more. And which, you know, is a good thing in what they're going for. I just found the climax, like where they ended, is definitely a cliffhanger. Essentially, the whole thing of the show is how the Civil War basically started. And I found this whole first season, the setup to that. And now, you know, yeah, there is some, and this is no spoilers, by the way, but there is some fighting that goes on, but it comes to a head at the end, right? Like they're really, you know, here we go.
Because they're setting up the whatever 3-year war or whatever that's going to happen after this. So the next couple of seasons are probably going to be much more actiony than this season.
For sure. And the thing is the writing was so good, and the stories were so good that I didn't really care that there wasn't a whole lot of big action set pieces with 2 big wars going and people are fucking, you know, there was very little of that. And I was okay with that. This was all about you getting attached to characters and building up these characters that you're going to love or hate, which, by the way, there are almost no characters I hate in this show. There's no, for me, I'm sure that there are people that watch the show that can't stand certain characters, but even the ones that are sort of the villains, they also, you can tell that they have their own motivations, and you can see where they're coming from. They're like, you know, either misunderstood, or they're following their house, or they're following what they should be doing. And so there wasn't no like real Joffreys. There is a Joffrey in this. And
there's always going to be one little shit stain running around somewhere.
There's a character called Joffrey. Like there is a Joffrey.
Oh, I think an actual Joffrey. Okay, yeah.
An actual Joffrey. And you can really see some of the names and where things come from, and like you start to piece things together. Which is really, really, it was really clever how they did some of the stuff. So overall, I think I loved it. It's better than the last season of Game of Thrones, easily, which, you know, is not a huge feat, but
still good for the first season of any new series to best the last season of something else is a good start.
Yep. So yeah, like overall, I enjoyed it.
Fantastic. You didn't start watching the Lord of the Rings or anything?
I didn't. We're starting that. Right now we're watching Love Is Blind season 3, and then after that we're gonna do Lord of the Rings.
How many episodes in on Love Is Blind are you?
We're on episode 3, so we watched 2 episodes.
Does this look like it's going to be a good season? This one?
It's gonna be a dumpster fire. They're all dumpster fires. It's great. It's great. It's great.
All right. Yeah, I might have to tell Em that there's another season. If she's interested. We've spent like 0 time together for like 3 fucking months now. So before she goes away, we get to actually like sit down and just chill for a bit, and watch some stuff. Where else am I here? Yes, following in the footsteps of the truly special Star Wars holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy is getting a holiday special. I'm going to let it pass because apparently part of the plot to this movie is that Kevin Bacon is like sort of abducted. So,
okay.
yeah. Kevin Bacon is now canonically a Marvel superhero. Or not a superhero, but a Marvel character.
Well, James Gunn is he's no longer with Marvel at all, and part of his contract is you're not allowed to do Marvel movies ever.
Right.
while you're under a contract with DC. So
I wonder who's doing this. I wonder who takes over for this holiday special then.
I don't know.
Or maybe
apparently
maybe
Guardians
he
of
did
the
it.
Galaxy. I think he might have done this already.
This might have been finished. Yeah.
Yeah, because Guardians is done. Apparently.
Yeah, because he
This,
tweeted he tweeted about it. So I think he was on this, and it was like his last things or whatever. And tangentially to this, so when I was writing the podcast notes, it was on Discourse talking to Fox, and I was talking to him about the holiday special, and then I can't remember how this ended up happening, but we're like talking about crossovers and shit because Kevin Bacon, becoming canonically part of the Marvel universe was very funny to me, but also it was like Kevin Bacon. I said, there's a short list of people, of actors and actresses that if you're going to make them as themselves, their real life selves, canonically part of a superhero universe, Kevin Bacon would be on the short list because it's fucking Kevin Bacon. He's never going to be he's not going to be a superhero or a villain, but he's still Kevin Bacon, and you could probably get away with that shit, right? Jeff Goldblum would have been another one, but he's already a character, in Thor. And then I said out loud, maybe Keanu Reeves, and I stopped myself and I said, yeah, but Keanu Reeves is probably going to be in Marvel at some point in time, or DC. You have to imagine that's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, I would guess. And then I stopped myself and I said, wait! I know this is never going to happen. But I said it out loud and now I need it to happen. What if Keanu Reeves as John Wick was crossed over into Blade, and then it was a Blade, Deadpool, John Wick movie? I need that to happen now. Imagine Deadpool and Blade and John Wick. John Wick the Vampire Slayer by itself is already... I'm sold. I'm gonna watch that movie right now. John Wick interacting with Blade and Deadpool in a movie while killing vampires? I'll watch it thrice!
I'm in. I'll take that.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
I'll take that.
It won't happen, but yeah, a man can dream. I'm sure. Do you think that Keanu is eventually going to join one, like either DC or Marvel? And do you have any characters you've ever thought about that he might fit into, or what movie? I
don't know. At this point, like if they were to do any character, maybe he'll do an X-Men. I don't know.
Yeah, you could be one of the X-Men. Yeah. That could be a thing.
Couldn't tell you which character at this point.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I couldn't come up with anything. But I also don't know a lot of like the superheroes that are likely going to be pulled to be part of these new phases. Because the phase one was like every superhero I was already aware of, and now we're dipping into superheroes that like I've never heard of in my entire fucking life. So, whatever he ends up. Oh, true. Keanu is technically Constantine.
That is true.
That is true. True. And we talked about how he would do another one as well.
There you go. You never know. That makes sense.
Which again, I will watch another Constantine movie with Keanu Reeves. Now imagine Constantine 2 with the director of the John Wick films.
That'd be cool too.
Give me the John Wick action in the Constantine universe.
Give me a John Wick, like put Keanu in just a John Wick series. Like I actually think
You need more of that universe.
Exactly. I just think John Wick would be a better franchise or an IP in a series. And Keanu can be the star of it, or Keanu can pass the baton and let somebody else do it, and then he can come in as the mentor or something, and maybe his character dies and maybe his son takes over or something. I don't fucking know. But I think the movies has run its course. Although the next one, apparently they've got I
just want more lore. I want more John Wick universe lore, because the shit in the first movie, the action was so good, but I was also completely on the edge of my seat about how this universe works. The hotel, the token system, all the rules of everywhere for All of that sounds so fucking dope, and we
Yes.
just get enough of it to get a taste, but we don't get too much, which is probably part of the reason why it works so well. But I would a series that we get a little bit more of the lore and the interaction amongst assassins and things of that nature, and maybe the history of all of that. I mean, I think that would be fucking fire.
Yep.
Personally,
I'm with you.
but either way, just give me more Keanu Reeves.
Yes,
He's getting
please.
old. We need to get as much out of Keanu Reeves here in the next like 5 to 10 years before he's just officially too old. Like, you know, we've got fucking Liam Neeson, and I love me some Liam Neeson. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love that man. But he can't do these movies anymore. He's doing them actively, but he should not be doing these movies anymore. You can only hide so much with jump cuts. You need to just
He ain't it.
put the brakes on. You know, that time has passed. And so before Keanu hits that point, and I mean, Keanu's in way better shape than Liam Neeson ever was, so he's going to go a little longer and be viable for longer. But still, let's just get as much Keanu as possible before this window passes. Last bit of news here on the movies and TV, although there was one other thing I was going to ask you about that I forgot to write down. Hold on to your sausages! Sausage Party Foodtopia was announced this week.
Ooh, nice.
8-episode television series is coming for Sausage Party. So there you go. Fans of Sausage Party, you're getting an 8 season. It doesn't have Keanu Reeves in it. But maybe they should put him in. John Wick in Sausage Party.
Dude, I love the first Sausage Party. I thought it was one of the, and I don't even like animated films. I just thought it was one of the funniest animated films I've ever seen. I saw it in theater. I laughed my fucking ass off. I thought I was gonna hate it, and I went in there just absolutely loving it. Like I'm actually gonna have to go back and rewatch it. And I know it's on Netflix right now. I saw it there not too long ago. That movie's fucking hilarious.
Sausage Party
was funny as fuck.
There are only 2 camps with Sausage Party. You laughed your ass off the whole time, or you thought it was the dumbest movie you've ever seen in your life.
It's like
there is no
Napoleon
middle
Dynamite,
ground.
right? It's like Napoleon Dynamite. I hated Napoleon Dynamite. I did not like that movie. It's not my humor.
But it's one of the biggest comedy films of all time.
Exactly. Some people absolutely fucking love Napoleon Dynamite. It's a cult classic.
And like the Nacho Libre, it was a very similar, same director.
Too. Yes. Yeah.
Like,
and I didn't mind Nacho Libre because I'm a bit of a Jack Black fanboy.
Nacho Libre is fucking funny.
It is funny. But Sausage Party, man, that shit just took me for a loop, dude. It was just funny as fuck. So
we'll see how they do with 8 episodes worth of a series. That should be interesting to see how they spin that for 8 episodes. But yeah, I don't have a date or anything. I just know that was announced. That's the title. So we'll wait and see as they give us some more info. The last thing I didn't write down here, but I'm interested in your take. We've watched the implosion again, because this is like the 3rd time now, but this one seems like it's probably the death blow. Kanye West, doing his Kanye best to burn his career to the ground in like under 14 business days. This man,
record time,
with speed. This man went out and said some crazy anti-Semitic shit that was, even for Kanye, was some fucking weird, off the meds hot takes. And then he was given so many opportunities to just be like, Kanye, bro, just walk it back a little bit. Just tell us that everyone slips up now and then. You say some shit, it comes out your mouth. It sounds different when you say it than when it was in your head and you're like, wait, no, that's too fucked up. That's not what I meant. Nah. Yeah. He double, triple, quadrupled every interview he went on. He got crazier and crazier, and then eventually he was stupid enough to say what he should never have said, especially, which was, I'm gonna say all this anti-Semitic shit and Adidas still won't drop me. Now what? And then guess what happened?
Oh, they dropped him.
Adidas dropped him, and literally everyone that has even been tangentially related to Kanye West's business in any way, shape, or form.
Yep.
Simultaneously, no pun intended, yeeted his ass into the sun. And now he's lost his billionaire status.
Yep.
and he ended up, apparently, he showed up unannounced to Skechers headquarters to try and pitch them the idea of taking over the Yeezy brand of shoes, which, by the way, I got to keep it 100, Mr. Black. I can't take anyone seriously that wears that shit. They're the ugliest shoes ever made. there's never been an uglier shoe. I'm wearing 17-year-old beat to shit, heels have worn out Air Force Ones that look better, and honestly, if I put the Balenciaga title on it, would probably sell for like $17,000 right now.
When I was in Spain, because Balenciaga, I do believe, is from Spain. Like
Spanish,
I think it's a Spanish brand.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think it is. Bro, everybody was wearing fucking Balenciaga.
Yeah.
Everybody. And I didn't even, like, I wasn't even...
Or a
I didn't
knockoff
even,
of it, like who
or
fucking...
a knockoff.
Like,
yeah, one of the two. But where I was, they're probably real.
It's probably
like,
real.
The area that I was in...
Yeah, the people that you were mingling with, it was probably real Balenciaga.
Is very real. Yeah, it was... Yeah, I've seen it everywhere. But I get it. I mean, Kanye is Kanye. And here's the thing. I like Kanye West.
I like Kanye West the artist. Kanye West the person's a little fucked in the head, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I think he's just mentally ill as well, you know. And he's got so much money and power, you know. You mix that in with, you know, off the meds, and he's lost. He's just lost. Like, there are some things that he said in the past that, you know, some people got all in arms up about, that I was like,
the last one was the slavery was a choice one was a bit spicy.
But you know, but the thing is like, I can get behind, like, I don't get behind that, but like I think I get what he was trying to say when he said that, right? When he was saying things like, you know, slavery is a choice, as in I want to believe what he was trying to say is, you know, we're allowing people to enslave us, you know, to hold us back, to keep saying, you know, oh, you did this to us, you know, many years ago, and this is the reason why my circumstance is the way it is now, and I need my, you know, I need to be, you know, compensated for it, or
my ancestors past,
exactly,
or
right? I think that's what he meant. I don't know. Maybe he actually meant black people had a choice to be slaves.
Well, I think that's good. Like, when I listened to the interview originally, like you said, like you use like present tense. I think he used past tense.
Okay, if you use past tense, he's an idiot. You know, it's just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you know, ain't nobody signing up to be a slave. It's just you dumbass. And you can't just say, no, I'm not going to be a slave, because you're going to get whipped and killed, and hung. So
otherwise, there wouldn't be a lot of slaves.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So, like, you know, if that's the case, I thought he meant, what I was picking up was, you know,
and he might like partially
ourselves, you know.
Yeah, he might partially, but the way he said it, and I think he means a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Maybe, yeah, reparations.
Who really knows? It's Kanye.
Exactly, right? Because, like, sometimes, and even I've watched a little bit of his stuff lately on these podcasts, and I just couldn't sit there for hours and listen to this guy spew a bunch of fucking bullshit. I feel embarrassed for him more than anything. So, like, it's hard for me to watch, but I did watch some certain clips. And, you know, the thing is with Kanye is actually an intelligent guy. You obviously got to be, to some degree, to have done what he has done. But I think he thinks he's more intelligent than what he is. I think he thinks he is literal God.
Well, he did say very specifically, basically, nah, I'm done learning. Now you're going to listen to me. Yeah. I'm going to do the teaching. So I think he does internally believe that he has the answers. He's thought it out, and now everyone has to listen to him.
No, the thing is nobody really gives a fuck what Kanye West really truly thinks. Like, he's really not that important of a person. You know, like, yeah, he does have some importance, and you know, he is an influential person, and he's talented, and yes, okay, he's all of those things. But the dude is not a savant. He's not like fucking, you know, he's not like an Elon Musk of the world, where like where you are literally changing the world in humanity. And I know that there's going to be people that are going to be raging, fucking Elon Musk, fuck that. I get it, okay, sure. But he's smarter than you, he's more successful than you, and he's doing things in the world that, you know, very few people in the history of mankind has done. So, you know, get over yourself.
Whether it's a net positive or not, he's doing it.
I would like to believe it's a net positive.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some negatives, but net positively, I think thing is Kanye is not a net positive.
No.
He's just a billionaire fucking idiot that is just crashing and burning right now. Yeah, I just almost feel sorry for him.
So I watched a good chunk of the Lex Fridman podcast that he did. Because his family is Jewish, and he had family members part of the Holocaust and things of that nature. Have you ever seen any of his podcasts before?
I did. Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah. So
I know we called him on his bullshit. Called him out. I
well,
watched it.
Yeah, clearly. But the thing that like really got me was like, and I lost Kanye on a bunch of shit, but the one that really stuck with me was how much he was stuck on this concept of equating abortions and the Holocaust, which was just like you can't even have a conversation with somebody that is attempting to equate those things, because no matter what you lay out in front of them, if they've come to that conclusion already, they're in a different fucking universe of thought that you'll never meet. All you can do is get as much context out of them as possible to try to understand how they got there. You're never going to change their mind. That's in a different fucking world of wackadoodle. It's just like, I think Lex did a pretty good job of getting him to continue to talk. And the thing about Kanye is, because a lot of these ideas are just like
it's
some
fluid
bits
off his head. It's
talking points that other people like in the zeitgeist have discussed. Pundits, politicians, and stuff. It's all mixed. It's conspiracy theories. It's like a whole bunch of shit come together. He's like Nick Cannon if Nick Cannon had mental issues. Do you ever listen to Nick Cannon talk and like the melanin shit and all that? Like, he's basically Nick Cannon if Nick Cannon had bipolar or similar,
or
like
massive narcissistic complex.
Well, a lot of them have like they go hand in hand. You'll find they have a lot of very similar. They go hand in hand a lot of the time. But yeah, very off the rails. And he's not interested in hearing anyone else's thoughts. He's got in his mind that it's the world's time to listen to Kanye, as if that hasn't been his purview for the last like 20 years plus in his music, for the world to listen to his messages this whole time, and he's got it in his mind. But the irony of him going to like Skechers, because the head of Skechers is Jewish, it was like the irony was so thick
it's just
to me.
Like, bro, come on, man. He's Kanye, man. And listen, is he gonna destroy his entire career and stuff? No. I think Kanye is like Kanye is like Dave Chappelle, but not as respected. Like, Dave Chappelle can't be canceled. Kanye West
can be canceled
to a degree, but like, he's always gonna be there, and he's gonna have this legion of hardcore Kanye West fans that are just gonna follow and fuel his dumb. But yeah, he's fucked himself pretty hard this time. Thing is there's so much money in the Kanye brand that like I can see business companies coming and getting back to him, whether it's Adidas in the future or Balenciaga or whatever. I can see Gap, whatever, right? I can see years down the road, because you know what's going to happen is he's going to go through this dark period, and he's going to come out on the other end likely and be like, guys, I was fucking sick. I was off my meds and blah, blah, blah. And, it's,
but I'm
what
good
I was
now.
Saying, yeah. Like, and the man can make so much money that like people are like, oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe that was until he has another episode and he goes fucking crazy again. But the shit that he's been saying as of late, I can't even get behind. And like, I try and find the silver lining for Kanye, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to hate on you. I can kind of see where you're coming from. I don't fully agree with everything you're saying, but I think I understand where you're going with this. You're just doing a really piss poor job. It's like you didn't really think it through on how to articulate what is going on in your mind. You're just saying it, and then whatever happens. But this time around, he's not saying anything that I can get behind at all. It's just like, dude, you're lost, man. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you need to have these conversations with like your friends outside of media. You need to like say this shit behind closed doors and never say it publicly. You're an
Maybe
idiot.
don't even say it then. Really?
I mean, if you're gonna say it, at least talk to people that is gonna shut the fuck up and like listen to you. Maybe like give you some hard truths. Like be like, dude, you are off. Like, no, this ain't it.
I mean, this man said some crazy shit, which is bad enough, but then he also said crazy shit about a group of people that basically run the entire industry in both industries that he's trying to have a foothold in. So like, good luck. So at this point, I think my best guess is at this point, this will die down eventually. Gonna take some time because Kanye is gonna let it. Like Kanye is not gonna let it go. So it's gonna take some time for this to go away. He's not gonna shut up. So it's gonna go for a bit. And then eventually somebody will partner with him, but they're going to fleece him for so much money. He's going to get fleeced in the ground because he's going to go anywhere. If this man's already knocking on the door of Skechers after being tied to Balenciaga,
the reason is he wants to have his brand be for everyday people. He doesn't want to have $300 shirts anymore. He wants to have it so you can get 5 shirts for $30. And so he's trying to go into these smaller, more affordable, brands that could use an injection of Kanye. The problem is he's spewing all this hatred. It's like, who the fuck is gonna touch you, man? Like, you're an idiot. Like this.
I think the thing is for Kanye at this point is he had the opportunity to when he had all this money. He should have already long since just bought up the whole chain from bottom to top and been producing his own shit on his own dime. And not been co-opting Adidas or somebody else,
what Sway
right?
said to him years ago.
Yeah, what are you doing?
When he's on Sway, he's like, Kanye, why don't you just go and do this yourself? You don't need these other big companies. And he's like, you ain't got the answer, Sway.
Oh, I remember that interview. He got so angry.
Sway. And he was going crazy. And then
Sway
he
was
did another interview.
like,
he did an interview a few months ago, and I think it was like DJ Academics or some shit was asking him like, Kanye, didn't Sway tell you to do all this the whole time? He looks at the camera and he's like, I guess Sway had the answers.
Oh, no!
It's like, come on, man.
Oh, no!
Oh, man.
Got him!
Yeah.
But that's true. I can't, why wouldn't he have done that? He has so much money and power. That was the one time for him to be able to leverage all that to do it. And none of this would have, at this point, it would have been, people would have stopped buying into it if they didn't give a shit about the stuff coming out of his mouth and not, I've said shit and now all the people that I'm working with are all leaving me and I can't do it without them now.
Yep.
He's not attached to the fucking porn industry of the Kardashians anymore. He doesn't have fucking anything. He's just Kanye by himself screaming into the void of social media.
Anyway, fuck Kanye West, dude.
That's
seriously,
crazy,
man. That guy's he's a tool, man. I don't think I'll ever buy another thing from Kanye West again. I just can't. He's just such a tool. He's
Not
a
wrong.
fucking idiot.
Not wrong. It's a shame because musically, very gifted individual. All right. Well, that's all we got for that, which means it's time to move on to
tech support.
Patreon.com/LagTV is the place to go if you want to financially support this podcast. $10 or more a month gets you a couple of things like the high-quality version of this podcast. But also, you are able to ask us questions each and every week on a post that I put up. It's called Tech Support. Comment on that. We answer as many as we can in the time that we have. First up, A. Dent asks, who wins the 2030 U.S. election? Dwayne Rocky Zoa Johnson versus Kim Kardashian.
Oh, The Rock, easily. Come on.
Let's see. Mr. Miyagi asks, who would win in an arm wrestling competition? Elon Musk or Neil deGrasse Tyson? Neil's got that all day, bro.
Elon.
Neil's got that all day. Neil, and this is gonna sound racist shit. Neil's got that old black man strength. There's no fucking way that Elon. Have you seen Elon shirtless? That man looks like he's not even cut like a bag of milk anymore.
Imagine how many screws and shit this motherfucker's been drilling in over his life, man. His forearm power must be pretty hard.
Zero. Zero. He has bought the people that turn the screws. He ain't put a fucking screw into a piece of wood. I don't know,
man. I think
Neil in his younger days was also juiced. The man was big, so he's got that old used to work out strength.
All right.
I think Neil's got that all day.
Okay.
But all I need to do is see Elon Musk without a shirt on. That man ain't got no strength. that man's built different.
I'm
But
surprised
not
you could see after that.
well, it's blinding. Like
Yeah.
it was blinding. Like I thought I was pale. That bitch is fucking like translucent. It's a different category of skin tone altogether. No, I would say that. Speaking of arm wrestling, so like arguably the greatest arm wrestler of all time, or top 3 at the very least, Devin Lorette is a Canadian boy who's been done more for arm wrestling as like a sport in the last like 10 years than anyone else has to make it relevant, bring it to the forefront. It's huge on YouTube now. All these tournaments and stuff that he's been fostering in North America, overseas, everywhere. And he's been just about with everyone promoting arm wrestling as a thing while still competing himself. Finally got destroyed on the table. And not just like lost, but like got fucking mangled. Now he's gotten older now. He's in his, I think Devin's in his 40s. And he's had a lot of injuries and shit, but everyone knew this was likely going to be the guy that was going to do it to him. He's from Georgia. His name is Levon. I can't remember his last name, but if you've ever, dude, this man is the genetic fucking shit show. Like Devin's 6'6", he's ex-Canadian military. For this arm wrestling thing, he spent like months and months putting on weight. He's up over 300 pounds, but he's not fat. He's just 6'6" and 300 pounds. Fucking huge. And Levon, who's not 6'6", but he's maybe like 6 foot, makes him look like a child. He's fucking enormous. His arms are the size of my torso. And he's just naturally fucking huge. Like he's one of those guys. His hands are like fucking 18XL monster, like sausage fingers and the whole 9 yards. Stupid strong. And he was taught proper arm wrestling technique. So he's like this freak show. And I watched this, the video's on YouTube, you can see it. And he literally, instantly, and Devin is known for holding the strongest, like he did the mountain, anyone. He held the mountain, like, it was Game of Thrones, who was the strongest man in the world at the time. Held him and laughed at him and was doing this, look at me, and just doing this with him. Nothing. To give you an idea of how strong this motherfucker is. And then this fucking Georgian dude, bam, slammed him right away. Did it left-handed, right-handed, wiped him. Devin said, thank you for letting me be part of your legacy. And he's like, I gotta hand it up to you, because I don't know nobody beating this man.
My reign is over.
My reign is over. Welcome to the fucking show.
I can retire.
I can finally retire now. So he'll go on and keep like doing a bunch of shit.
Yeah,
he has like ideas.
Stuff,
yeah, like he had a really great idea. He was teaching some kid who I think he's U.S. military or either a Marine or a SEAL. And was teaching him arm wrestling technique and stuff, and was talking about like he has ideas where he's going to go and do a tour across Canada to all the military bases and stuff and find natural talent in the military, which is where he's from, and then his idea was to have this guy or somebody else in the stateside do the same, and then have like a U.S. Canada military arm wrestling competition and shit, which would be pretty fucking dope. And stuff like that. So he's done a lot of work for it. He'll continue to do that because he's not so old that he can stop. If he dropped weight and did like heavyweight instead of super heavyweight, he'd still probably crush almost everyone. But he can't. This guy, if you just look him up, like Levon, Levan, dude, I've never seen like an individual this big in my life. He's fucking freaky. But yeah, that was just because he talked about the arm wrestling and made me think of that. Oh. Volkus, question for Jeff. As someone that's done some voice acting, what's your take on James Earl Jones consenting to allow his voice to continue being the voice of Darth Vader? So he did announce, we didn't even talk about this in the podcast, but a couple weeks ago he announced he's done.
Yeah.
He's like 90 fucking 2 years old.
Yeah, and I mean you could tell like in his latest stuff, his voice isn't
he's old.
Yeah, it's not what it's still a great iconic voice. And like it's Darth Vader. But I mean, how long can you really do that?
Yeah.
Same with like Mufasa. I don't think there's any problem with it. I mean, if he still gets to get paid, so he can still make his money. And let's be real, guys. If they were to change Darth Vader's voice,
oh my God,
even if they found somebody that could sound like him and they had somebody else mimicking him, nah, bro, it'd be up in arms. So the fact that you have the technology now that they can basically create his voice from his voice. Nothing wrong with that. He gave consent, you know. I actually think it's good. And let's be real, like they'll keep using Darth Vader for forever. But he's also not like a main driving factor in the Star Wars moving forward. It's not, the character's dead, right? So like how much prequel stuff and other shit are they, I shouldn't say how much will they actually do. They'll probably do a lot, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're doing 9 more movies of Darth Vader and, they got to use his voice to recreate movies. So it'd be okay.
Yeah. There's some characters that are done by voiceover that have changed over the years for whatever reason. The originals have passed away or whatnot, and it's always difficult to shit. I mean, it's like when Jim Henson passed away, and then somebody else had to be Kermit the Frog. There's no way. Again, even if you get close to sounding like Jim Henson, you're never going to sound exactly like Jim Henson. And so all of the Muppets, including Kermit that he voiced, are all going to sound like this new person, even if they get close, and it fucks with you because you've listened to Jim Henson forever. Yep. Same with Darth Vader, and there's some other examples. I had one more in my head, but it's gone now. But yeah, that's very challenging to do. But with technology going the way that it's going, being able to maintain and use James Earl Jones as Darth Vader, I think is a great move. And especially again, if he continues to get paid or his family continues to get, he probably signed it so his family will continue to get royalties. Sure. And that's a good thing for sure for him. I think that's a smart move for everyone involved, really. Because imagine, like you said, replacing Darth Vader's voice. Good luck.
No. Yeah.
There's only one man with James Earl Jones' voice, and it's James Earl Jones. That's the show. Some of these are always good. All right, Roran asks, Marry, Fuck, Kill, Marvel Edition. Black Widow, Jane Foster, who is Thor's girl, and She-Hulk. Marry, Fuck, Kill. Well, if you're fucking She-Hulk, you're probably just dead.
Yeah, I'm killing She-Hulk.
Is that even possible canonically to kill? Like it's like the Hulk is like. Are they even killable, or do they just get angrier?
I don't know, but she's
Attempt.
Dead. Yeah.
I'm marrying. I think I'm gonna marry Thor's girl because she's probably like immortal.
What Jane? What's her name?
Jane Foster.
Foster. Yeah, that's yeah. Nah, I'm marrying Scarlet Witch, or not Scarlet Witch.
Scarlett Johansson, basically.
Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
I mean, come on. It's Scarlett Johansson.
True. Very true.
And I'm fucking
Jane
Thor's
Foster.
girl. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Dr. Samurai asks, which current cheating scandal are you most entertained by? The poker cheating scandal, which I've not heard of one of those yet. Maybe you know something about that. The fishing one, which is the lead weights in the fish, or the chess one with the anal beads in the asshole.
Oh man, the one that's the most intriguing. So in the poker one, it's the Jack 4 hand. I won't even go into it.
Okay.
I'm not overly interested in that.
Was it perpetrated by a well-known, or was this like an online thing, or like?
No, it was a live. It was a live poker.
Okay.
A live poker stream. The one that's more intriguing. I got to go with the chess. I think how
do you battle with anal beads, bro?
Well, the thing is with chess, I find it much more because I've been hearing. I had this conversation with somebody that like on the stream that's like into the scene, and from what they told me, there is a player that is ridiculously good and was cheating by having at first I heard that there might be something up his rectum that was like giving him vibrations or something.
Yes, like Morse code.
Like Morse code to know which spot to move to.
Yeah.
And it was funny because they started showing metal detectors of them like scanning their ass and stuff. I saw the photos. But the reason why I picked the chess, like the fishing one, is just cut and dry. You know, I did see that. It's like, you know, they're stuffing the fish with weight. For those,
it's not the first time that's ever happened. It will not be the last time.
Yeah. And they got caught just red-handed. They just cut the fish open and just in front of everybody and just reamed them. And you know, they've won a lot of money and stuff and taken away stuff from other people. The chess one I just find more intriguing because when I think of chess, I think of, you know, the elite.
Extreme professional.
Yeah, like, and I'm talking like, I would imagine, and this is my ignorance. I don't mean anything negative when I say this, because it's the same way in certain video game related stuff. But I would imagine that the top, you know, say 100 chess players in the world are probably some pretty weird dudes and gals. Like, they are probably very socially, and I don't want to say all, you know, we can't paint everybody with a brush.
At the very upper end, it's like anything, like they're very mathematically inclined, so they're socially they might be a bit.
Yeah,
they're
like
not your average.
When I say and I shouldn't use the word weird because it's probably not a political correct way of doing it.
Just not your average individual.
I would say that, but I would say that they're very interesting people, as in, like, you know, there's just something about them that are not like everyday folk, where if they're cheating, the level of cheating that they must be doing is so high end and like so well thought out and meticulous that I think that is far more interesting than some dude stuffing weights in a fish.
Yes,
you know. That's why I think, because like if somebody is cheating in chess, like imagine, like, you're already so fucking smart. Like, imagine trying to outsmart the smartest people in the world.
Well, and props to Magnus Carlsen, who outright said this and dropped out of the tournament, said this man's cheating and deuced.
That's crazy. You know, like, I think that's far more intriguing.
Yes, I agree.
Than the other stuff. And you know, if there's a massive scandal and we find out that he was doing this, and you know, is it as crazy as Morse code through your ass? I doubt it. I doubt it. But, you know, if there is cheating, like, how did you do it? How long have you done it? Who are you doing it with? Did you do it by yourself? How could you possibly? And how did you outsmart? And like, what's going on in your brain? Because you're already also playing chess at the highest level. Like the ones that are, it's not like you just suddenly start cheating at chess and you're now playing for Grandmaster Championships. You already got to be a fucking legend to even sit at the table to be able to cheat with these players. Yes. Not like you're going to your local chess meetup and battling it out, you know, with like your provincial or state, you know, champion. You're playing the world's best at chess, the most distinguished, highest of high. You know, when I think chess, man, I think of white, super smart cigar.
Usually Europeans, honestly.
European in a fucking castle with bookshelves taller than fucking that Georgian giant dude that you were talking about that arm wrestled. Like, I'm thinking some sort of fucking club. Like
many fine leather-bound books.
Dude, that's what I think of the highest level of chess. Now, I've seen Queen's Gambit and stuff, and it's a really good show.
Good show, by the way. Yeah.
But like, you know, to be able to get at that level and cheat, I mean, wow, man, what a how
That's
smart,
tough.
and to outsmart, to cheat the smartest, most calculated people, like in terms of chess, to outsmart them at chess.
Like, the only thing that I can think of that is possibly a higher level than chess in terms of strategy is Go. And like that.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's pretty much, it's like chess where you can memorize openings and then you're thinking one step ahead as to like where any of that could go. And there's a lot going on there.
Thinking like 15, 20 steps ahead.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
Like, it's like
and
human
then there's
calculators. Like,
and then Go is like that times a fucking 100, but yeah,
but imagine at the top.
Oh, it's
like,
nuts.
It's insane. It's like it's like playing StarCraft, right? It's the closest thing I can think of. Is like the two best StarCraft players in the world. Like say the two best Brood War players to ever play the game at their peak. And everybody else that plays the game is fucking dog shit compared to these two, right? And one person,
so like Flash versus Jaedong, basically,
and one person is cheating while they're doing it in front of the world, and they're getting away with it, assuming allegedly if they are cheating, right? Like how the fuck? How do you do it? I gotta know,
bro. If it is Morse code anal beads, that's some of the greatest shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah,
Morse code anal beads is like some top tier fuckery. Absolutely. Last question comes in from Datbread. He says, so my question is, if you could have one petty ability, what would it be? An example of petty abilities would be if someone is pissing you off, you refill their bladder or make them fart on command or piss themselves or stub their toe. So an ability that can cause minor inconveniences to others that piss you off or just bother people. What's your petty ability?
Just to give people flat tires.
Oh, God. I mean, you could technically just do that with a...
Yeah, but I mean, like, if I'm driving, right?
Oh, okay.
If I'm driving and somebody cuts me off or does whatever, and I could just, like that, and a tire pops, obviously without them hurting themselves, you know?
Yes, because on a highway, that would be...
Because on a highway, that'd be a bad time.
Bad time.
Obviously, I don't want to hurt anybody, but, like, I'm talking about a convenience. It's like... It's a bit of
an inconvenience.
An inconvenience, sorry.
Right.
That's just one that comes to the top of my head.
I'm gonna say...
Oh, I got a better one. I'm sorry.
Okay. What is it?
Okay, here it is.
What do you got?
This one's better because the tire one, they can get hurt, and I'm not a bad person. So, I'm gonna go with rain on their next vacation. That's petty. You know, you're getting ready to go on a trip.
In like a location that never rains.
Yeah, you just put a spell on them, and they're just jazzed. They've been waiting 6 months, the countdown, and then boom, rain. Yeah, that's a dick move. Yeah,
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say my petty move is for 24 hours. They feel like every time they take a step, it feels like they're stepping on Lego.
Ooh, that's painful.
For 24
that's
hours.
Horrible. That'd be horrible. What a fuck! You're an asshole. That's not even a petty inconvenience. That's just torture.
That might be against the Geneva Convention.
Every step you take, you're stepping on Lego. Oh man, dude, that's pain. Pain.
Okay, I guess if I had to pick another one, it would be like the next time they go through a drive-through, they get their order wrong.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I wanted no cheese on this Big Mac, and they put extra cheese. That's a good one. That's a very good one. I like it.
It's nothing worse because, like, you want to trust them and you don't want to, like, you know, hold up the line by opening the bag and fucking sorting through everything. So you just kind of drive off. And so you never know until it's already too late. You're away. Too late. Yeah. And you're like, fuck, these assholes. Fuck, there's two things in this order. A fucking Sprite and a cheeseburger. How do you fuck that up? There's only two things. There's not even special. I didn't even ask for, like, you know, no pickle or no, just a cheeseburger and a Sprite. I ended up with a fish fillet. What the fuck is this?
I like that one.
So that would be my choice. Did you see, like, just as a tangent here before we wrap this up, did you see going around social media last week where somebody posted a camera of them working at McDonald's where they were showing how a McRib is made?
I did, and it was like a frozen, like little patties, and then it was nasty.
And people were figuring out, but like, what did people? It's frozen. It's a frozen rib. What did people think that they had like fresh racks of rib at McDonald's where they were like cutting the rib down off from like a hanger on the ceiling and like, you know, freshly making your fucking McRib? Of course, it's a frozen fucking rib. It's not
Yep.
like, at least it's not like chicken nuggets where it's like some sort of weird amalgamation of bullshit that they like squeezed out a tube and made into the same shape. You know, it's just frozen, probably low quality rib. That's all it is. And people were like, oh my God, I'm never eating at McDonald's again. Like, that's probably the closest thing to food you've seen made at McDonald's. Is that McRib. Let's be real. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this week's Technical Alpha. Thank you very much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves, whether you're here on the live streams, twitch.tv/Technical Alpha. And of course, if you're on the RSS feeds going to work or coming home and you're listening to this, bless you as well. Patreon.com/LagTV is the place to go if you want to financially support this podcast directly. And we would greatly appreciate it if you continue to do so with whatever you can manage. And until next week, guys, thank you very much. Stay safe out there. And until we see you, peace.
Peace.